So, we're talking about addiction, and to me, addiction is any habit to which we are continually enslaved and unable to break free from. Though this is often seen as only pertaining to negative habits, it can be true of seemingly positive habits as well. In Addictions and Grace, Gerald May wrote about addiction being anything to which we become enslaved to our desire for. It becomes so prevalent and necessary in our lives that it replaces God as the number one spot in our life. And so bondage then is this helpless nature in which we find ourselves once we are truly and honestly attached to our addictions. We do not always recognize that we are in bondage. Sometimes we think that we're okay, we can handle it, we can stop at any time. But that's not the truth or the reality of the situation we are in. And so it becomes this inescapable nature to which we cling to our addictions and to which our addictions cling to us. It's that inability to escape the nature of our addiction through our own volition and can only find freedom then through deliverance by someone outside of ourselves. Recovery then is a journey. If we are set free, if we come out of bondage, then recovery is the journey in which we find ourselves. Alcoholics Anonymous members will quickly quip that they are forever an alcoholic, but are no longer in bondage to the drink. They are in a journey of recovery in which their addiction no longer has mastery over their life. And this is true of all addictions. Whether your addiction is to sugar, caffeine, pornography, the Denver Broncos football, regardless of how great or small your addiction may be or seem, you will always be addicted to it. Recovery, then, is the process of discovery to which you are released from its bondage and mastery in your life. The struggle may still be real, but the outcome will be different. Excuse me. Deliverance, then, is when someone outside of your situation is able to come and set you free. Most addiction, this requires, most addictions requires a higher being, as the Alcoholics Anonymous group calls it, or to Christian, it is reliance on God, the ultimate deliverer, who brought Abraham out of pagan Ur and the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt and exile in Babylon, and has since delivered all people who believe from the condemnation of sin. I've known many people who have recovered from addiction and bondages to sin and also to strong addictions. Over the years, I've spent time with members of Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Celebrate Recovery, as well as handling, those lesser addictions and crises within the church, those things that we often don't want to see as addictions. Often people don't want to admit that they have a problem with. And so helping people work through and finding deliverance and then starting them on a process of recovery in that. And there are many whom I know who still find that this is a struggle day to day. But I also know that there are those who have found such total deliverance that they no longer even reflect, they no longer even notice the addiction except reflecting on their past life and how it brings glory to God, that they no longer live with that addiction. In my previous context at Crossroads, we spent a lot of time focused on recovery, but I don't think we truly grasped the need and desire for deliverance. And so people found the recovery process really difficult and often didn't find true recovery. And I think most people, they wanted recovery because they realized that the addiction was having a negative effect on their current realities, and there was, the consequences and ramification of their addictions. But they did not truly believe they could be delivered, or they did not truly want to be delivered because of the temporary pleasing nature which addictions often provide. In my current setting, we have discussed better opportunities for recovery and deliverance, including becoming a local Celebrate Recovery church. The lead pastor has a degree in counseling, but at this point, the only opportunities for deliverance and recovery are given during the Sunday morning prayer in the worship service. And though God certainly can perform miracles and release people from bondage in that moment, it is not the realistic and most optimal opportunity for this. I think that there's a much greater need for accountability and honesty when facing addictions than what can be generally surmised in a quick prayer on a Sunday morning. In time, hopefully, we can give more thought and direction to how we can have a greater hand in helping God release people in our church and community from the bondage of addiction. And so, yeah, that's my thought on addictions. Looking forward to catching up with you guys, and can't believe we're in our final semester. See you soon.